What up? Your boy MC Channel. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, check out the playlist. Still in Orange County right here, covering the rest of the hoods in Santa Ana. Um, Not as old school and large as the other ones, but still keep the ones that keep it active and they be doing their thing, homie. So starting off with
You are now watching M.O.D. Entertainment. Make sure you subscribe and check out the playlist.
Low, 6 flow, blue rag lows. Shave head, creased up, sporting flat nose. The OG way, what you know about that West Coast? The OG way, what you know about that West Coast? Low, 6 flow, blue rag lows. Shave head, creased up, sporting flat nose. The OG way, what you know about that West Coast? The OG way, what you know about that West Coast? Gang capital in Cali, we some animals. No remorse and no mercy, just like cannibals. So play your cards right, and that was picture cantaloupe. And we'll hit you anywhere just like catapults. Es un desmadre, but forever I'll hold down the throne. We were raised, homie, brought up to be real looks. When we were raised, brought up, homie, to be real looks. When we were raised, brought up, homie, to be real looks. Low, 6 flow.
G-File.
Alright, starting off right here, we have Golden West Street. Now, Golden West Street is a neighborhood that's been around since the 80s. Roughly small neighborhood, since it doesn't have that much time being around. You can find them right there on Sullivan Street, right there between what's Riot and Fairview. Now the Golden West Street Los Stoners, that's what is known as Los Stoners, because they all have like a clique on which they're known for. These would be Los Stoners. Um, they're right there, well, representing for Golden West. Like I said, they're roughly a smaller neighborhood. They don't have that much time, and their territory is not that large. But nonetheless, you do catch them up, and you do hear about them, and they're right there doing their thing. And here you have Highland Street. Now, Highland Street, or as actually what is known as the Sky Highland, because the Orange County neighborhoods, they have this thing where it's like, they write their neighborhood more in Spanish than they do in English. So, it's like Calle Siete or Calle Seis or, like Calle Highland. So, you do see it up HST, but you most likely see it more times CH than anything else, for the Calle Highland. And so not to be confused with Highland Park. Has no relation to that neighborhood, nothing to do with it, none of that. Because obviously these guys are right here on Highland Street. So, separate from that neighborhood, had nothing to do with it. They're their own neighborhood. Because I heard people try to say that it's the same thing, but it's not the same thing. And it's not a clique, like I also heard. Highland Street is its own neighborhood. They right there, they with the business. They handle things. You definitely hear about this neighborhood, and they definitely be putting their neighborhood up on the map. They got their riders right there representing for their neighborhood and holding it down. You know what I mean? Here we have Dark Side right here, the Tiny Assassins. That's what this neighborhood is known as, the Clica. You can find them right there on Sullivan Street. Now, Dark Side, I know that there's a Dark Side in Riverside, Dark Side Riva, but this one's the one in Orange County. I forgot to ask Homeboy if they have any connections to the ones in Riva, but this one's right here on Sullivan Street. Um, you know, Even though these neighborhoods are a lot smarter than the rest of them, because they're not that old school, because most of these neighborhoods are like um, late 70s, early 80s. Nonetheless, man, they have their numbers. They definitely deep. They get it popping. You definitely hear about these guys. You know what I mean? Like you see the activity by these guys. They definitely keep it active. You know what I mean? They have the riders right there representing. Like because they're pretty large. Like they're one of the ones that you do hear a lot of activity coming from. But yeah, that's what's up with the Dark Side neighbor DS right there, representing for their side and putting it on the map. Shout out to the homie Güero from Dark Side, feed me camarada right there, and shout out to all the homies from Dark Side that be putting their neighborhood on the map right there, representing in their area. Now right here on Olive Street, you have the UBC neighborhood. The UBC stands for United by Crime. Um, as a matter of fact, um, these guys are known as Los Carteles. That's their clique, based off. I actually got to meet a really good homie, a while back ago. Rest in peace, Taz. He was a firme camarada. You know what I mean? He was with it. So, rest in peace for that homie. United by Crime, they got some music. You guys should check out their music. They definitely get it down. You know what I mean? Like, they get it popping. But yeah, United by Crime is definitely active, definitely deep. You definitely see them up. One of the neighborhoods that is well known in this area. More too by their unique name. You know what I mean? Most people think it's a crew. It's not a crew. It's actually a neighborhood, and and they down for their shit, homie. Like you go over there tripping, you get laid out right there on Olive. Yeah, but yeah, that's what's up with the UBC neighborhood. Definitely putting it on the map. Check out their music. The vatos, they have talent. They get down. You know what I mean? They got skills. They got some firme rolas. And yeah, that's what's up with the UBC neighborhood. Los carteles right there. Putting it on the map. Now right here, you also have the Lewell Street neighborhood. Those sinners. Also, a click off of them that I seen them together right with them is SMC, which was a crew. Now as a click, it stands for Sick-Minded Criminals. Because I know that some people think that it is their own neighborhood or the Shelton Street, But Lowell Street, you can find them right here on Lowell and St. Andrew is where their neighborhood's at. Definitely holding it down right there. Now, Lowell Street, because I know this is going to get brought up, there's another Lowell Street in Northeast LA that are green lighters. This Lowell Street and that Lowell Street are two different neighborhoods. The only thing that they have in common is the fact that their neighborhoods are the same street because there's a Lowell, obviously in by El Sereno, but this one's the one in Orange County, right there by St. Andrew. Completely different, have nothing to do with that neighborhood. Two different neighborhoods. It's just a fucking what a coincidence. It's a trip. But yeah, this is a different neighborhood, and these little streets right here, Los Sinners. Been right here for a cool minute already. Like I said, late 70s, early 80s. Definitely deep, and well, they used to be deep because with all the racketeering acts and gentrification and everything, they're not as large as they used to be. But nonetheless, man, you can still catch them up and representing and doing their thing. You know what I mean? Now here's one of the oldest neighborhoods right here because this one's been around since the 70s. You have the guy Townsend. Um, you could like you see it up CT. Calle Townsend. Like I said, most neighborhoods over here are written calle more than it's written street. That's just how they get down. Now these ones are called los ruthlesss. Now that's what they're known for. They're clica los ruthlesss. You can find them right there on Townsend and McFadden is where their neighbors at. Like I said, this used to be a large neighborhood, well known. It's probably the oldest one out of this list. They definitely with the business. They have a larger number, but due to racketeering, and all of that, would definitely be trying to like contain this neighborhood because before, like I said, they were hella deep and they were just fucking causing all kinds of this madre. You know what I mean? So all the sweeps, locking up a bunch of them and everything. They're not as deep as they used to be, but nonetheless, they still right there and representing it and definitely still putting their neighborhood on the map. You know what I mean? Shout out to the homie Travieso from Townsend and shout out to all the homies that be representing right there for their neighborhood. Now here you have the McClay Street. McClay Street is one of the roughly newer neighborhoods. Smaller. You know, um, not as old school as the rest. But nonetheless, well, you can catch them right there on McClay Street. But nonetheless, they still right there holding down for their neighborhood and putting it on the map. You know what I mean? Like you still catch them up and you still see the activity by these guys. Right there representing. You see it MC, ST. Into the McClay Streets. So not to be confused with the Meanie Streets, because this one actually has a C, so it's MC, not the MST. So that's what's up with the McClay Street right there, representing for their hood and putting it on the map. And here's probably the roughly the newest one out of the bunch. It's the Obar Street. Now Obar Street Rifa. So as you see it, OBR. You can find them on Obar and Grand is where their neighborhood's at. Um, this neighborhood, this is roughly the newer one. It's not as deep as the rest, a lot smaller. But they still make their noise though. Like you still hear about this neighborhood. Like they're relevant, So they definitely right there representing it and holding it down in their area. You know what I mean? And here you have the KOS neighborhood. Now the KOS neighborhood, this one, no, has nothing to do with the movie or nothing like that. If the people seen the movie 187, it's not the same thing. It's two different things. Used to be a crew that became a neighborhood, so that's what they say. Can't confirm it, but that's what they writing. That's what they say. You know what I mean? King of Streets, or as it's known now as the Night Owls. That's night with a K, kind of like Mr. Night Owl writes it. So it's the Night Owls neighborhood. You do see them up. You catch the graffiti and you hear the activity by them. Like they got their writers. Like so. I can't confirm if they're a neighborhood, but that's how they write it. That's what they say, and yeah, they write they're representing.